The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 25th day of April, 2022. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jimmy Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool. Sherry, how was your weekend?
It was good, Jamal. I can't even complain. I had to think about it. Like, what did I do? But no, it was good. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to tell us what you said. I had to think about what
I did. I had to. I'm still thinking. What did I
Oh.
do Saturday?
So that's
I don't know.
of some intoxicants or something because she can't remember, folks.
No, it really didn't. But really, what did I do Saturday? Oh my God, this is 47.
That's all?
Where is, like, can we have a blurred? Where's the beep? I hate that I don't have controls over here.
The audience was laughing at that. Sorry.
Jamal, you didn't even say, like, where's Liana? Because, like, you're not even saying nothing about my hair.
Your hair looks wonderful, Sherry. Absolutely stunning this morning. I'm sorry.
And you look sweaty.
Yeah. It's a bit hot in here today. Hey, what can I say? Thanks for the compliment, though. At least you all know
You're welcome.
This morning. Since you asked, Sherry, I had a pretty decent weekend myself. Bermudians have this tendency to think that you live in South Florida, everyone lives on Miami Beach and stuff. So back-to-back days, I had Bermudians visiting Miami, so I drove down both days. Those who know, exactly. Those who know me. I don't go to tourist areas and I don't drive, but what?
Just something to add to the list. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. Didn't. Mr. Dink. With Mr. Short Dink.
Why can't we say Mr. Do? Like I do things, just don't do those things. Anyway,
all right, I guess.
Haters gonna hate. Anyway, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to begin the week as we discuss whether accountability or legislation will improve road safety conditions in Bermuda. Then we're focusing on that Fairmont Southampton deal. You all had a lot to say about the concessions that were shared last week, so we'll discuss that. And the daily play is a Who Said It. So let's dig into the ancestor box for that. What?
Just made me go deflated.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
You know what I did all weekend, Jamal? Talk to you. That's what I did.
Hey, folks. Sherry and I had pillow talk. Yeah, and I'm just saying. She called me the afternoon. I was in bed. Done. She is in bed. We're both on our pillows. We're talking on video. I'm like, oh no, Sherry. People might see a screenshot, think they're having pillow talk. I don't know about this one. Shucks.
It's all good.
That's what happens when she takes a day off. She took a day off and she missed me, and so because she missed me, she had to talk to me, and that's what I'm saying. You all buy this front that she's looking forward to the weekend. Don't buy it. Don't buy it.
And Phil did an excellent job. Excellent job.
Yeah, Phil, welcome home, bro. You all know what I'm talking about. Phil, welcome home. You haven't arrived on the Daily Hour unless you get hate mail. So welcome to the show officially. Phil. But look, let's jump into today's discussion. A lot to discuss. Obviously, we want to send condolences to the family of the victim of this weekend's road traffic collision in Bermuda, and I'll speak more to that
Yeah.
in the news break. But it begs the question, and the question of the morning. Actually, one of the people I was with yesterday having a conversation was the transport minister, Lauren Scott. But one of the questions that I felt we have to revisit is what will improve road safety in Bermuda? Is it accountability, like taking responsibility for our own actions, or is it legislation? You all may have heard me say things on this show before, and then, unlike the hypocrisy that I like to call out, we're human beings. And so we're
Yeah.
allowed to change our minds. So what I may have said even last week, last year, I may feel differently now due to things that happen, due to more education. That said, I have never been one to complain, probably because I haven't been as inconvenienced about road traffic stops or sobriety checks. I'm on the side where the police should let people know, and I know many others don't believe the people need to know when the police are going to be out or where they're going to be. But we all have opinions about what will improve road safety in Bermuda. I think
Yeah.
this morning we're in a place where we need to consider our own actions as to, is there something that we can do as individuals, or is there more that needs to be done from a legislative and policy side? What are your thoughts? What will improve Bermuda road safety in Bermuda? Accountability or legislation? What are your thoughts?
Well, I remember when we talked about this before, discussed this before, I was just like, people need to use the barometer in regards to that. Remember, I was like, we shouldn't have road safety checks. You should just be able to govern yourself accordingly. There's rules in place. I think that we need to take accountability. I also believe that the culture that we live in regards to living in Bermuda, is one of how many drinks can can be done, how many this, and you have bartenders that encourage, as well as your group of friends. But we have to take accountability for ourselves and know when to say no and know when to stop, but at the same token, have those around us who can help facilitate that to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's more accountability. We have a lot of things in legislation and law, and those rules get broken all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't legislate all behaviors because people, I mean, there would be nobody in prison or being fined or in court if, legislation and policies really, made things better, right?
Right.
There's legislation and policies that exist right now, and things still happen. Traveling Trotty, to the question, folks. For those just tuning in, the question of the morning is: what will improve road safety in Bermuda? Accountability or legislation? Traveling Trotty says it is both. When was the last time the riding/driving road test was updated, and the written test? Well, as we have these conversations, and this has been had since back when I was at Hot 107.5 in the late 2000s, the written tests and driving tests, the testing, right? How does that help me understand the correlation? And this is why I say this: the majority of the accidents aren't young people, according to the
Mhm.
statistics that are shared. So, are you saying that the tests need to be updated and we should have to take tests every decade or so? Or do you feel like the tests that currently exist will improve the standard so that when these young people get to a certain age, it'll be better? Because I think it's so easy to look at young people or riding tests and all that, but these are grown adults that should know better, that are
Right.
really being pulled over or guilty of a lot of these crimes. The other thing that really strikes me when it comes to roads in Bermuda and safety is I don't quite think we understand that the roads aren't bad because of road fatalities. There's a lot of accidents in Bermuda, but we only seem to bring it to the forefront when there's actually a fatality, right?
Yeah.
We've got work to do on our roads. And I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm not giving my opinion. I'm not quite sure I have the answers, but I know what's working now probably isn't the road we want to stay on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're saying in regards when you say our roads, we have a lot of potholes, a lot of construction, those kind of things you're speaking to, or just
Yeah. I'm speaking
okay,
to people's personal like accountability, like behaviors on the road.
yeah,
I was once known for being a grandpa on the road because I just defensive driver, really. I mean, for
yeah,
me, I always looked at the roads like this. If I get in an accident, it's not going to be my fault. That's how I drive, right?
hmm,
But I can't control the actions of others. But at least if something happens, they do something, I can be prepared for it. I don't think the
right,
majority of people drive like that. A lot of people have an invincibility about them. And
especially in
so,
Bermuda.
yeah. And so, I mean, we've seen cars overboard a couple times this year. Just,
Yeah.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, more recently, a police vehicle,
Hmm.
right? So I think we have some ways to go.
My thought has always been the road is gonna win, right? That's how I drive and how I think, especially when it rains and so forth. But we have been brought up in a culture that overtaking is a rite of passage. Overtaking on a corner is can we do that? We came up, at least I did, in the era of pack racing, and so forth, and we talked about this before as well. We've seen it kind of decrease somewhat in that, but it's taken on a whole different atmosphere as well. So with this being said, but I feel like young people and or people just feel like it's a rite of passage to
Mhm.
do certain things on the road at some point. And really it just means just drive safely. There's so many people that still don't wear seatbelts, Jamal. There's so many people that still drive with children in the front seat and they'll have a seatbelt on, but the child doesn't. Really? So your child's the airbag. And I just don't get it, and I've done this before, Jamal. Get in my car and don't put your seatbelt on. I'm jamming brakes and people
Don't,
put
don't,
on your
don't
seatbelt.
your car makes that annoying noise when you don't have your seatbelt on?
What do you mean? Oh, well, in Bermuda when I had my Volkswagen, it wasn't that
Uh,
far advanced. But Jamal, that too, you could just push down the red button and it stops, really.
oh, really? See, I don't know those. I'm a
Yeah.
law-abiding citizen, so I don't know those tricks and all that. So you know
Yeah.
who puts the seatbelt on and who doesn't, folks. Question of the morning:
Me.
what will improve road safety in Bermuda? Accountability or legislation? Sam Catplay says there was a law passed in Tennessee that if a person causes death of a parent during a DUI accident, the responsible party has to pay child support for any minor left. I did read that story last week. I want to
Wow.
say on Twitter. I saw that, if I'm not mistaken, but I did see that. That was interesting.
I like that. I
Yeah.
d- I
But
like
one of the
that.
questions that like people start asking questions on the Twitter link that I read was, but how does this work? Because are we saying these people aren't going to prison now, or they have to pay when they get out? Like, how does it look? The framework? I like the idea, but what's the framework for it? What does it look like? You know?
Jamal, the idea is enough to scare me. I don't want to even find out what the framework involves. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
So accountability in that, I see that, we do have different things in place in Bermuda. You lose points on your insurance. You can pay a fine, all of those kind of things. But people, I take that serious in
Sure.
that
When
sense.
was the last time you had a speeding ticket, Sherry?
It's been years, Jamal,
Uh,
honestly.
so, like, I mean, I know you've been around for a long time, but I mean, you saying years? Are we talking 50, 60? We're talking
It's gosh, been probably about 10,
10 years. Wow.
10,
Well,
20 years. It's put it this way, we were in the old court building back in the day.
okay, let me knock on some wood.
Yeah.
I haven't had a speeding ticket since I was like 17, I think 16, 17, 17.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to brag. I simply say it because I think I'm between minds on. I know some time ago I saw something in the newspaper in Bermuda where people who hadn't had speeding tickets in like 30, 40 years or something, they were rewarded. And
I
I'm
didn't get
so
that reward.
I'm weird. It's weird to me because I'm like, why are we rewarding people for doing what's necessary, like what we should be doing? Like, are we to that point where we need to reward people? Even if you look at the insurance companies in the US, they reward good driving, and I get it. I mean, people who are reckless cost you more money and whatnot.
Right.
But I just think maybe that's some of the stuff that needs to be considered. What will
Mm-hmm.
improve road safety in Bermuda? Accountability or legislation? Carla John says technology may be able to provide some improvement. Speed cameras, stoplight cameras, etc. Receiving automatic speeding tickets in the mail may cause some to slow down. Everard Davis says these road tests basically serve two purposes. One, learning rules of the road to implement We Drive, and two, being a conscious driver of your surroundings as you drive. I want to go back to Carla John.
Now listen, I'm been caught before. Not that gotten.
Oh, really?
Because yes, but now let me tell you, it's a whole photo shoot when you go through one of those things. There's like start again. And then you get it in the mail, and I'm like, really? But I also caught my ex-husband doing something too. But anyway, that's getting one of those email. You were where? Oh, I
Is
digress.
this an
Go ahead.
episode of Eaters right here? So no, I get you though, Sherry. I use Waze, right? I was just talking to someone
Yes.
yesterday about Waze, and they're like, "Do you use it even when you know where you're going?" I'm like, "Yes, all the time."
Yes.
And I said, "It could be letting me know where the police are, but you don't speed." I said, "That's beside the point. When you know where police are, you become more conscious of your driving. So it could be
Mhm.
something like, I may use my indicators when I'm going lane to lane, but if let's say I may forget once in a blue moon, but if I know the police are there, I'm going to be more conscious to ensure that I'm doing it. The other reason is, hey, one accident can cost you an hour.
Traffic.
Knowing traffic is and so on. So I use it, and there's benefits to it. Now, that said, would an app like that benefit Bermudians in terms of road safety? Could it benefit Bermudians? I don't know, but something's got to give, folks. Something has to give, and I'm on the side of accountability. Look, I said last week, and I say it all the time: in a fair and just world, there'd be no need for charity. I just think, obviously, we will never have one, but in an honest world, in a fair world, in a just world, in a near perfect world, there would be no need for laws.
Right.
Laws handicap our ability to live this free life that we supposedly have. And the reason there are laws is because human beings do human things.
Mm-hmm.
And we
But
have to do better. Go ahead, Shay.
and no, I do get annoyed at, when an accident does happen and you've seen the person, I'm not even gonna say young person, weaving in and out, overtaken, and then it was, oh, he was such a, or she was such a responsible person this way and that way. And it's like, but where was that responsibility and the accountability at that time? I'm all with, there's an emergency to some standard, but you should be calling the police or the ambulance as well. But at the same token, where are we racing to? What are we rushing to get
Oh,
to?
thank you for saying that, Sherry.
Where?
I race absolutely. If I'm late for work, I'm gonna be late for work,
Yeah.
folks. Again, if your job requires you to be there at a certain time, and you think you're gonna be late, better late than dead.
Yeah.
I'm
And
telling
and and Jamal, I shared this with Jamal. I recently got into a car accident situation, and you have to just be careful. Even in Bermuda, there was a tow truck and the tire blew and debris went flying everywhere.
you.
My car got hit, I was safe, but the same thing can happen in Bermuda, and we don't have much movement on the roads to go ahead and be as safe as we can. So we have to just slow down and take accountability.
But to your point about even debris, like going back to how I drive, defensiveness, like understanding I'm on a highway every day in the US, and tires coming off of a big truck. I've driven next to a big truck when I was living in Massachusetts, and the tire went out, pop, like you thought like
Yes.
something. It's crazy. So
Yeah.
if you just slow down, if you take your time, one of the things we haven't discussed at all throughout the conversations we've had on this particular issue, we speak about alcoholism, we talk about speed, but distracted driving. I literally,
Mm.
if you text me and drive, like I literally lose so much respect for you. Like, I have nothing for you. I think texting and driving is probably as irresponsible, if not as driving under the influence. Why? Because you literally, most likely, are not influenced by anything, but you need to communicate something that can wait.
Yeah.
If you
And
want to communicate while you're driving, turn on the phone, call through your Bluetooth. But texting and driving literally is probably like, I remember driving to work. I had about a 45-minute to an hour commute at my previous job. And every time I noticed people slowing down or weaving out, I would look into that car and what were they doing? And it
Absolutely.
annoyed me to no end. And it was days like that I actually felt like I wish I was a police officer. I'm seriously saying that to anyone who's tuned into this
Mhm.
show today. Stop texting and driving. Seriously, especially if you're not alone in your vehicle.
Absolutely. And they've drawn the equivalence of drive. It's like driving drunk when you
Mhm.
try to do that. I know certain firms, once you kind of hook it up to your car, will say this person is driving, they'll text you back when they finish or whatnot. And use those things. And you have Bluetooths. We have cars that do so
Correct.
many things, even make the noises if you're getting too close to another car. Like, come on, guys, just tune in.
Yeah. No, seriously, I say that because again, we always talk about alcohol and speed, and I think we can't ignore that, elephant in the room. Let's go. We've got someone. Juan Haywood says, "Been ages since I had a speeding ticket as well, Sherry. Like 2004, learned my lesson." So I'm proud to say that's good. That's awesome because
Thank you, Jawan.
now that I think about it, Sherry, it was 1998, 99 when last time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now, parking tickets,
probably.
that's a whole nother story.
A responsible parker here. Charmaine Richardson says driving is extremely stressful now. The bikes overtake on corners, and even when traffic in the opposite direction, very frustrating. Well, I was in Bermuda. I was riding my sister's bike, and I saw people doing some crazy stuff. Like literally, I'm behind an elderly couple, not Sherry's age. I mean, real elderly this time. But I was behind an elderly couple the whole way. I'm just like, okay, I'm gotta make a move, but I'm just like, but I'm not in a hurry nowhere. Like literally,
Right.
mind you, I was late for my COVID appointment. It was supposed to be 10, and I, was left home about 10:45. But again, I was just like, I'm gonna make it. And you know me, to be on time is to be late. But
Right.
folks, it's not
And
worth it.
and
It's not.
and I'm glad Charmaine brought that up. And we have to take into accountability animals, right? Different things. We drive in Bermuda, we have various different creatures, around. And just, you're overtaking this, that, and the other, and a cat runs out or a dog runs out. In the States, it happened to me. Two deer. One came, and then I happened to look again, another across the front of my car. So it's like you have to always kind of be looking and being aware, and people
Yeah.
just slow down.
Watch out for wildlife, folks. You don't want all that on your car, and you don't want it could happen. Michelle White says people think that because they are given a driver's license, they know the road. How many times have we studied for a test in school and didn't do well in the end of year test? Folks, thank you so much for your response to that. We are going to be speaking about the concessions that looks like we're given to the Fairmont Southampton. We have a statement from the CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Authority as well. So look, as we'll speak to you more at the end of the show about driving accountability and legislation. But Sherry, we have to get to the news break. I want to say this before we get to the news break, though. If you're subscribed to our website, you would have received an email this weekend.
Mhm.
If you're not, you wouldn't have received the email. But I will say, for those who have subscribed and received the email, there's some exciting things coming. Let's go to the news break, Sherry.
Okay.
This is the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Unfortunately, and sad news to share this morning, Bermuda recorded its 5th road fatality of 2022. The victim, a 37-year-old male, had been involved in a single vehicle road traffic collision in St. George's. Anyone with information on this incident is asked to call 211 or the main police number on 295-0011. On behalf of everyone here at the Daily Hour, sincerest condolences to the family, friends, and the entire community. Well, BTA CEO Charles Jeffers II recently shared his excitement regarding the Fairmont Southampton deal. Mr. Jeffers said, quote, "This is an important move for the tourism industry. We look forward to the return of the Fairmont Southampton's inventory of rooms, conference facilities, and the hundreds of jobs it will bring. Redevelopment of the iconic property gives Bermuda a solid crack at restoring airlift, reclaiming group and convention business, and visitor numbers to pre-pandemic levels," end quote. The Fairmont Southampton hotel is scheduled to reopen sometime in 2023, which tourism experts expect to bring a welcome boost to Bermuda's economy. We'll discuss this further in the next segment of the show. In today's weather, expect a high of 68 and a low near 62, becoming partly cloudy and windy after some morning light rain. That's the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. I know you all were expecting a different weather thing, but hey, I'm not getting yelled at from Leanna. Sherry?
When you do your thing, it doesn't really mute me, so I have to go in and mute myself. Jamal.
Keep it every for the hour. Yeah.
Good job, Jamal. Good job.
And I spoke to Leanne yesterday. I felt threatened, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
You all be fooled by these ladies on the air that don't mess up Leanna's news break. So I had work to do. What you got the days of the year for?
I do. Today we celebrate National Hairstylist Appreciation Day, as they are often overlooked for all the jobs they actually do. Do hairstylists just cut hair? Of course not. They are excellent listeners, whether you're describing that celebrity haircut you want to copy or talking about our families, spouses, friends, etc. They are artists, perfectionists, color chemists, angle mathematicians, supportive therapists, and more, and have influence on how we feel about and ourselves and how we view others. And most important, we feel dang good after we go see our hairstylist. So it's National Hairstylist Day.
Well, my barber, I had Duolingo to kind of learn a bit of Spanish because he speaks Spanish, and so we communicate as best as we can, but we have a very good relationship. He tells me the cool things he was doing for his wife and all that, but I don't think I really got a therapist feel from him. I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. Yeah.
Well, I know women do. We definitely have conversations, and because we're with them usually a long period of time, which is not
as you can see. It don't take much up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I'm not with my barber that long, folks. Real quickly, Michelle White, she says, how many times do we have to subscribe? I have, but no email. Well, Michelle, I don't know what to tell you, my sister. Check your junk, but there was definitely an email that about 1,000 people received. So check it out. All right. Or resubscribe. All right. We're going to take a quick break, folks. We've got to discuss this Fairmont Southampton deal in a second. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back to take on this conversation.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors, and not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
Most of us acknowledge that there's something special about organic food. To be sure, organically grown foods are cleaner and devoid of toxic pesticides, genetic modification, antibiotics, and growth hormones. And reports that the flavors of these foods are accordingly bolder and more authentic surely resonate with lovers of good eats. Field Day is a producer of organics who deliver on these promises and ingeniously add affordability to the mix. Good news for us thrifty consumers. We're featuring Field Day Organic Grade A maple syrup. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All righty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Sherry, lot of chatter this weekend. They were not happy. They were not happy. Do you know what they were not happy about?
What, Jamal?
They were not happy about the Fairmont Southampton deal, Sherry. And
well, it falls into line what you're not happy about too.
Yeah.
Taxes.
Yeah, that's true. I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes as long as it's a fair share. It's not a fair share when I'm paying more than, Amazon, but that's another show.
Yes.
So basically, I'm just going to go to Bernews, who provided a little breakdown of the customs duty and tax relief, right? So according to what they've shared, Part 3, Section 1, subject to Section 4, the hotel developer shall be entitled to the following relief. So here's according to something Bernews shared on their Twitter. So A, for a period of 15 years from the commencement of this act, full relief from customs duty in respect of any building materials, furnishings, fixtures, and equipment which are necessary for the building, furnishing, and equipping of the hotel redevelopment. B, for a period of 15 years after the hotel's opening date, full exemption from hotel occupancy tax, otherwise payable in respect of the hotel. C, for a period commencing 6 years after the hotel's opening date and ending on the 15th anniversary of the opening date, full exemption from land tax, otherwise payable in respect of the hotel. And D, for a period of 15 years after the hotel's opening date, full exemption from the employer's share of the payroll tax, otherwise payable in respect of persons employed by the hotel. So the question of the morning, based on that, folks, is how do you feel about the concessions given to the Fairmont Southampton? How do you feel about the concessions that have been given to the Fairmont Southampton? That's your question for the morning.
I get there needs to be some concessions. I wholeheartedly believe there has to be some give and take in these types of situations. I feel like in the conversations that I've been in, it's the length of time more than anything else. And I really would like to know, how did they come up with 15 years? Like, what is the significance of the 50 years? What 15 years, what are they looking to make or accomplish in that time period with not having to pay the tax on those different sections? So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I need to, me, Jamal, I just need to know more. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like we've been given all the information. I appreciate them telling us this is the part, but how did we come up with 15 years?
And Michelle White agrees with you. She's asking, pretty much, I first wonder how concessions are calculated. And this is fair information. This is fair information to ask. I think to have educated opinions, we need information rather than just going on feelings. What I will say this much, I've heard people that have compared this to the airport, right? I've heard people say, what's the difference? There's a big difference. I think it's apples and oranges with the airport. The airport revenue went directly to government. This is a private entity where the revenue goes to a private company. I think that's the biggest difference right there. Look, it's a competitive world out here. You've got deserts that have turned into tourist destinations. If Bermuda doesn't give concessions, then these people will just go elsewhere. And then Bermudians will be in a tough spot wondering why we didn't do this, that, or the other. It's something that you're going to have to compromise and concede.
Right.
But I think it's only right that if it's going to impact taxpayers, that they understand what the negotiation stage was like. Now, in fairness, people were saying, well, that's what we wanted with the airport. However, the former finance minister, Bob Richards, did break it down, saying that it's unique. Like, we can't put this out to tender. We are unable to share details because of the level of conversation that takes place during these kind of deals. There's so much to it. I'm not sure what could have been shared. It is a private company, but then it is the government. The government is the people. It's a
Right.
thin line. It's a thin line. Judith Parsons says she's discussed it. 100, 100, 100. It reminds me of Animal Farm. What's Animal Farm? I'm being serious. You know.
That's before my time, Jamal.
Okay. We're not sure what Animal Farm is, so just let us know if you can. Pamela Wade says, "Will the employees have to pay their share of the payroll tax during the same period?" Well, that's what I assumed, right? I assumed that because it says under D, it says for a period of 15 years after the hotel's opening date, full exemption from the employer's share of payroll tax. So employer's share, right? It doesn't say employee share. So my assumption is that the employee will have to pay their share. That's my assumption based on that. But again, you know what they say about people and assuming. But this goes right back to what Sherry says. We don't have that information.
Right. And didn't it have something in there in regards to the number of Bermudians as well that they must hire? It was something in there, and I have to go back and just be sure. But again, Jamal, it's the transparency of it all. It's nice for you to let us know all of these things. And like I said, I do agree there has to be some concessions in some areas, but I just want to know, how did we make up these numbers? How did we come up with, we're not going to tax you on all the things that you have to bring in to make the hotel. And I also get that we do need the Fairmont Southampton Princess. We do need it.
Fairmont Southampton.
What did I say? Southampton Fairmont?
You said Fairmont Southampton Princess. It's not a princess hotel.
Okay.
Stop showing your age.
Well,
I'm just saying.
My age looks good.
It absolutely does. 57 looks good on you, Sherry. Seriously. Traveling Trotty says, I would like to know the estimated cost to taxpayers associated with this deal. I think it's only fair, Traveling Trotty, that the taxpayers do know this. I think there's so much more. And what I think is tough on this is, I think that, again, I don't know how negotiations go. I just remember the airport deal and how things were kept. But I think that we should have been able to learn from that. And as the government, who was opposition then, to be just more upfront but with it and say, we're going to have to concede on a few things. We're losing out to other destinations who are giving concessions. You're literally in other destinations. They're selling like the land. They're selling, themselves for this kind of investment. You have to give something up, because at the end of the day, they could have just went to Asia or the Middle East or the US. I just don't know. I think Bermudians are well within their rights to ask this question. Was this the best deal for Bermuda and Bermudians? And
what other deals were brought to the table? Were there any other deals that were brought to the table, and what did that look like? That would have been also important to understand, that this was put on the table and this was put on the table, and this is why we chose this. And we don't get all of that information. And if we don't get all of that information, then you have this pushback, and then you have government looking at us saying, you guys don't know what you're talking about. No, we don't, because we're not being given the information for us to have a decent conversation, or have at least understanding, whether we agree or not. We can understand, but I don't understand from A to D what that means.
Yeah, I think, it's so easy to say, well, you all don't understand, but I mean, if someone doesn't understand something, especially, your voters, don't you want to explain it to them? I mean, you will do it if an election was on the horizon. Judith Parsons says, Animal Farm book about people who promised to be for the people and flipped, also before my time. We have quite a few people explaining Animal Farm now. Question of the morning: how do you feel about some of the concessions given to the Fairmont Southampton? Sam Cat Place, she says, it's unfair that business have broken backs and pockets, even now out of business due to all the red tape they've faced, and now this, unfair and biased. Show us 90% Bermudian workforce as a result. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I did see people that had, they had opinions, very strong opinions, saying that, well, what about Bermudian businesses that are struggling? What about other businesses? I mean, I will say this much, and this is no disrespect to any Bermudian business, but I'm not quite sure there's a business in Bermuda that a Bermudian owns that has the economic impact of a Fairmont Southampton. I think that's my only response to that. Not defending what's been done, but when you talk about economic impact, let's just go down this. So Fairmont Southampton, the largest property in Bermuda, 693 rooms when they were all open. Or 593, sorry, 593 rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Convention space. You could have 5 weddings, 2 conferences right up there. The same night, you can have a boxing event.
Mm-hmm.
Various restaurants. So those restaurants need to be supplied. You have wholesalers. Wholesalers got to employ people. You have outside vendors that have the opportunity to do things on the property. Promoters, concert promoters. What I'm saying is, economic impact wise, not making excuses for the government, but truth be told, you had to make concessions to get this property back up and running. I think the disagreement is the public not having the information about what went into giving these concessions, what else was on the table, and was this the best deal that we could have gotten? Shall wait for you, Sherry.
Totally understand about the need for concessions. However, we are in a climate with trust issues and people in general asking to be included. To be informed is to understand and build trust. Totally agree, Michelle. Totally agree.
Emphasize that now. She said a climate with trust issues, folks.
Yeah, we got trust issues, as we should. You know, we continuously have situations being put on the table and being told that this is what we're doing instead of being included in the process. If you want buy-in from your people, include us. We will champion with you if we know the information, and at least know the information to understand, even if we don't agree. But how come, I'm not political. I know that.
She's getting there, folks. You hear her more.
I am. I'm excited too.
You hear Philip Trott, brother Phil. How are you, brother? Philip with 1 L. How you doing, brother? He says, if there were better concessions to Bermudian businesses, then there might be more of them, and the collective number of Bermudian-owned businesses could potentially rival the impact of South P. Phil, I once asked a question of someone in IB, international business. I said, why can't all the Bermudians that are in the international business sector, why can't they put their money together or their intelligence, their intellectual capacity, and create their own company? You know what they said to me? The capital. Where are we going to get the capital? It's not that easy. Phil, I appreciate what you said. I'm not quite sure there's a Bermudian, the richest Black Bermudian, that will literally be able to get the financing. And I'm going here. Think about when Black folks try to get down payments for a house in an area where we don't traditionally live and how banks treat them. I'm just saying, look at it like that, if you get what I'm saying. Renee Simmons says, I understand why Curtis Dickinson resigned. Now, well, I've seen people say that. We don't necessarily know. We can assume. You can assume, and I'm not saying our assumptions will be wrong, but I
like it when the audience says some things that I think. So it just,
Why are you saying you think it? Now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I did think it. I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Those kind of things do run through your mind as to, I wonder his thoughts on this whole situation as well.
All right, Sister Sherry. But no, I mean, I think he pretty much came out and said something close that he didn't necessarily agree with what was in there. But I would like to know, that said, I would see, and this is the other thing, I would like to know what in the deal he didn't agree with. You feel what I'm saying? Instead of saying he didn't agree with it, but what in the deal you didn't agree with? What would a better deal look like to the now former finance minister, Curtis Dickinson? What would that deal look like for Bermuda and Bermudians that would have gotten us over the hump to kind of bring this investment that's desperately needed for Bermuda,
right,
in the island?
I would just like to know his thoughts. I'm just going to throw it out there. And we want to know people's thoughts,
Yeah, I don't think he's one to share his thoughts. Honestly, I just don't. Look, former finance minister, former premier Paula Cox, and I liken Mr. Dickinson to Minister Cox. in terms of their demeanor.
Mhm.
People, I remember when Dr. Ewart Brown was the premier, and people, didn't like Dr. Brown. A lot of people wanted Paula Cox at the time as the premier, and they finally got the now former minister, the Honorable Paula Cox, in that position, and then they pretty much sent her packing. She hasn't had a political career since. And I see people championing the now former finance minister, Curtis Dickinson, to go up against the current premier, David Burt, for the premiership in the delegates conference in October. And I said to myself, Bermudians, we have to really ask ourselves, what is it do we want? Because we're very sensitive people. All it's going to take is one day Curtis Dickinson walked on the street and not acknowledge somebody, and he's the worst person in the world. This guy, I've never met him, doesn't come across like a people person. Like, you're saying you'd like to hear his thoughts. He doesn't come across like someone who wants to he just comes across about his business. And unfortunately, politics is not about just being about your business. David Burt, whether like him or not, he's in your circles. Soka doing all that stuff and whatnot, right? He's not I don't think David Burt's a people person, but he plays a role.
Right.
I'm not quite sure Curtis Dickinson is really in a role. I don't think he is about his business, and that's okay. That's okay. But in politics, you need charisma, right? That's just pause for the. You need a certain level of charisma, and if people, even the people that don't like you, right, they have a certain level of respect for you.
Right.
And so, kind of got off topic, but like Sherry, I honestly would love to know the former finance minister, Curtis Dickinson. I think, he is still a politician, a member of parliament. I think it's only right that he explain to the public, based on what's been released now, what his actual thoughts are. And I think Bermudians, we should demand that of him to say, Minister Dickinson, can you explain to us now that this is public and it's set to be debated, which I will listen to the debate. Honestly, folks, I used to listen all the time. I can't. I don't like listening to children argue, right? But I'm just saying it's not my sport. It's not my sport. I'd rather a ball be kicked or thrown, right? But I would love to know his thoughts. And I just think as a politician, an elected official, the least that Mr. Dickinson can do, not in the House of Assembly, but just come out and talk to the people, speak to the people.
Yeah. I will just love to hear his thoughts. And I don't know. I think he does have some charisma, but I understand what you're saying. He's not a person to be out front with all of that.
That guy seems like they begged him to be a politician because
okay.
I'm pretty much telling you, like,
okay.
I don't think he will share completely, but I do get it, says Renee Simmons. Michelle White says maybe Curtis Dickinson wanted less concession years to match or double the time it will take to renovate the hotel. Hotel complete in 2023, concession to 2024, maybe 2025. Yeah, I mean, again, we know he probably didn't agree with what was there, but Sam Kepley says he probably would have said no to most of the concessions. See what you got us doing, Minister Dickinson? You got us assuming. You know what? We've got former Minister of National Security Renee Ming coming on this Friday, folks. We're going to be speaking about her resignation, her time in the ministry, and what's going on with her in the backbench. Like, what does she expect to accomplish from the backbench? So I'm looking forward to that conversation on Friday, and I really wonder if maybe she can add something. I don't know. Maybe she can those conversations because she was in cabinet. Let me write that down.
But no, it will be wonderful to, like I said, hear his thoughts. And it may not be that we agree with him at all, but it'll be just very interesting to have another, other input on exactly what went on.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, I wrote it down. I just hope I can remember my handwriting. I asked Minister Ming about the hotel concessions and what cabinet agreed to and not, and how that thing went down. Hopefully she'll share it with us. But folks, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you think it was a good deal for Bermuda? Let's just give a yes or no. Do you think this is a good deal for Bermuda? Yes or no? Is the deal given to Fairmont Southampton based on what you know? We're doing it based on what you know. Do you believe it's a good deal for for Bermuda and Bermudians? Yes or no? Why are you laughing, Sherry?
Because I can't get, like, I don't have enough information, Jamal, and I just don't. I just to say yes or no. I need more to make that decision. I'm
But
sorry.
I was very particular. I said based on the information we have. Let me change it to relationships. Let me change to relationships. You grow up, you meet somebody, you get married. We do realize that when we get married, we don't know everything about a person. We
All
know
right, all right, all right. I
what
got
we
it.
know.
Okay. No.
Okay, Sherry says no. Well, let's see again, folks. Do you think this is a good deal for Bermuda? Do you think the Fairmont Southampton deal is a good deal for Bermuda? Yes or no? So let's go to the comments. Carlton Fleming says nah.
It's nah.
Well, hey, I say nah. You all say nah, right? Sam Cat Place says no. Judith Parsons says no. Shanna Smith says no. Traveling Trotty and Cher's going.
See?
You like. But I love you all. I really do. I really love you all. She's Traveling Trotty says sigh with the limited information. No. Renee Simmons says no. Everard Davis says in no way, shape, or form. Sam Cat Place says taxpayer money on top of more taxes to come because you know it's coming. Nicole Walker says no. David Michael R. Wilson said, based on what we know, no. Pamela Wade says no. Michelle White says no. Colita Davis says no, I need more. So I'll say this much. Based on the information we have, I think, like Karen Edwards Simmons, yes, this was a good deal for Bermuda. I actually believe this was a good deal for Bermuda based on what I know. And what I know isn't about what's been presented by Bernews or the government. What I know is that other destinations are looking for investment. It's a competitive world, and we have to make a decision. This is not just about giving concessions to hotels. This is about the environmentalists who come next and then say, well, we can't blow up this reef or we can't cut down these trees. And I respect them. I'm not about fighting environmentalists or Peter about eating a steak or any of that stuff. I don't eat steak, Peter, so don't get mad at me. That's Sherry. But anyway, my point is, folks, we have to decide what we want for Bermuda. And to me, Bermuda needs to get this hotel back open yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the information I know about what other countries are doing, I'll say it, other countries are selling out to Chinese. We haven't done that. Literally selling, build this and you own it for something. That's what people were saying about the airport. To me, obviously, there's always a better deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be a better deal. But I do believe, like Karen Simmons, I don't know why she said yes, but I'm on the side of yes. I'm on the side of yes, simply because of other destinations. We either compete or we don't. If they don't move forward, the next thing you'll be complaining about, sorry, it's not complaining. It's not complaining. The next thing we'll share concerns about is people can't find work. There's too many people on financial assistance because my taxes are going up. Now, keep in mind, I'm okay with your no, because I actually agree with you. The government has a responsibility to educate us more. You are the taxpayer, you are the government, and they owe it to you to let you know more information. So this is not a pass to the government.
No, I don't think that.
I will never give them a pass. You know me. I'm simply trying to get us to understand. We have to get that hotel back.
Right. And I think everybody agrees with that. I think everyone's on the same page with that that part of it. But like we said, for the news, we just need a little bit more information to get us
Yeah.
right
And
over.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think we're onto something. Let's take a quick break, folks. We're going to wrap it up. So we did get some people. Want to go back real quickly. So Raquel Wainwright said, I am subscribed, but I did not receive an email this weekend. Well, we've got our friend Michelle White says, oops, I have it. It was in junk mail. It appeared in a different folder. Got it.
Well, thanks for clearing it up, Michelle.
Carla John says, will there be any clues for the new host reveal? Well, we just hired a young Bermudian who is overseeing our social media. And I had a long chat with her on my drive from South Beach yesterday. And she has plans to give you all some clues. She has some plans to give you all some clues as to who the new host is going to be. So I will say, on our anniversary show, part of that email, well, again, you better subscribe. I can't tell you everything. What's the point, right? But if you subscribe, there's going to be some fun things on the anniversary show. A lot of announcements. So
acting like that government.
I'm just saying, if you thought last year was good in terms of announcements, last year has nothing on this year's announcements. So you don't want to miss that show and possibly opportunity. Let's go to these comments real quickly because I want to answer. Everett Davis says, at what cost? To the detriment of an expense that in the long run costs locals. Look at the whole picture and not settle for less in desperation. That's the thing, Everett. I agree with you. Bermuda's desperate. Bermuda is in a desperate situation. And I agree in the respect that, you know what? From a desperation part, they needed to get a deal done. Is it the best deal? I don't think it is. But again, I don't think it's selling out like other destinations have done. Like literally, you're selling pieces of land that you will no longer have. Like, look at the Disney deal in Florida. Like, I don't see us doing things like that. Is it the best deal? I don't think so. But I think that, I support the statement made by the CEO of the Bermuda Tourism Authority, Charles Jefferson, on that, which was read in the news report. All right, let's go to the quick break. We're going to wrap it up. Stick with us. Do not go anywhere because I may reveal a hint or two. Well, maybe not. I'm not going to.
Hey, the grumpy uncle.
Yeah.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Medical House, and Lindo's. Folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you continue these conversations amongst your family, your friends, around the water cooler at work. Definitely, as I always say, there's no right or wrong answers. Sometimes I'm going to disagree just to make the conversation interesting. Hey, it's me being me, honestly. I can't side with Sherry. I just can't. Even when we have our pillow talk, right? I can't do it. Look, final thoughts on today's Sherry before we do the daily play.
As we mentioned earlier, accountability or legislation, I believe that we need to be accountable for our own actions and keep ourselves and others safe on the roads. And I just think we need to keep that at the forefront. As far as the concessions, I need more information. I still don't know if this is a good deal or not. I do agree that we definitely need the hotel up and running, but what other information could have been provided for us to say yes to this deal?
Indeed, I agree. As far as accountability or legislation, I just think we need to be more accountable. I'm telling you, if there's anyone who tunes into this show every day, and we have a lot of conversations. We are a community of people that care about Bermuda, and one of the things that we have to do as we go about our daily lives is take responsibility for our actions. Accountability, and accountability means holding those around you accountable, holding them accountable, and likewise them holding you accountable. We have to do better, and the results on our roads is going to be determined by the behaviors that we practice. As far as the hotel deal, look, Bermuda needed a deal, but I have said for years and years and years, I'm not quite sure we have the best negotiators in the room. It's time to get people who know how to make a deal in these rooms. Yes, that hotel needed to be open. Is this the best deal? I don't believe it is. Is it rushed? Maybe. What I will do is encourage everyone who tunes into this show to listen to that debate, I believe set to begin either this Friday or next Friday in the House of Assembly. This is on you. Just call your MPs. Let them know what you feel. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It's who said it? Help her out, folks. Help her out. Who said it? You're not to be so blinded with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong no matter who does it or says it.
Patriotism. How old? Very old. I'm not sure, Jamal. Was it a president? Let me just answer. Was it a president? Okay. I don't know.
All right. So I thought that was an easy one. Sorry. You're not to be so blinded with patriotism that you can't face reality. Wrong is wrong no matter who does it or says it. Malcolm X.
See,
that
you
was
know
a very
what?
famous quote.
Well, the thing is, let me tell you what threw me off. Phil, it's either Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not going to do that.
When Phil said that?
I think he said it on Friday. Said something to that effect.
Yeah, his like that. We did, Traveling Truddy did get it. She said Malcolm X. A couple people. We got MLK, and Shana said Bernie Sanders. Sam Cat Play said President Obama. Folks, look, we've got some daily inspiration, right? Before we go, Sharon?
Yes. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. But I would like to add, broken people.
I agree
to that. Yeah, and that was Frederick Douglass.
There we go, folks. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe not only to the website, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and also, if you can't watch us, download the BCG Radio app. You can listen to us. We know a lot more people have returned to the office. Just download the app. You can listen to us every morning on bcgradio.com. Download the app, BCG Radio, and it's Reggae Mondays on there. So we got the sweet tunes of, well, Little Bob Marley, Little Barris Hammond, even some Barrington Levy, some Star Child. We got some Bermudians in there. Don't worry. Anyway, thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please make it a great day. Peace.